Good evening. Good evening, kings and queens of the land. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, the liberated zones of Africa, the only liberated zones in Africa under the French colonies. We recognize Burkina Faso, which is led by President Ibrahim Traore. We also recognize Niger, led by President Abdurrahman Tiani. And we also recognize Mali, which is led by General Assimi Goita. We also recognize the partial liberation of South Africa under the leadership of the MK party by President Zuma, the partial liberation of KZN, the MK party liberating KZN partially. We recognize under the British colony, the only region under the British colony to have been twisted towards to have been twisted away from the British colony towards the owners of the land. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mgodum Konto. This is the Royal Opinion. Today we're talking about the earth-moving interview of President Zuma. I call it earth-moving interview because this interview reveals a lot of what is going to happen in Africa, what we should expect to happen in Africa in very soon, in very few years. These are the plans that President Zuma is doing. So this interview is one that reveals what's happening. But before I go into the details of the interview, I want to comment about the issues that are happening within his family. First, let me just say, I indicated previously that I have previously indicated that either Duduzile Zuma or President Zuma himself uh, is going to be arrested because of what they did to go to Burkina Faso. This Burkina Faso trip was very critical and very important because this has initiated the process of uniting Africa. President Zuma went to Ibrahim Traore and spoke to him about his vision of Africa, about his vision of united Africa, and about his vision of leadership, how Africa should lead itself, and how politics should be ended when he talked to President Ibrahim Traore. He spoke about even elections, how elections are manipulative. Good evening, Queen Precious Malachi. Please swipe the camera. Isn't it not clear? Is it not clear? I don't know. Mhm. I don't have anything closer to me to wipe this thing. You'll pardon me. I don't have anything to wipe the camera. So I want to first comment about what is happening in the Zuma family. I was saying, I actually spoke about these issues that they are going to happen in the Zuma family I said they were going to be arrested. President Zuma is going to be arrested. He is still going to be arrested. To visit Zuma, I did not think she was the first one who was going to be arrested. I thought maybe President Zuma was going to be the first one to get arrested. But that aside, let me talk about what um, of human trafficking against Duduzile Zuma opened by a elder sister uh, against a younger sister. Those who are looking at issues in a straightforward manner, uh, those who are, I would say, those who are vulnerable or those who are easily manipulated, would look at this issue in a straightforward issue that Duduzile Zuma is accused of human trafficking, and then she's probably a human trafficker. That's one possibility. That's how one person who is not looking at many angles, who is one dimensional, can look at this issue. But there are many possibilities about this issue. Another possibility is that maybe the sister who reported the case to the police sold out the Zuma family, and then because she sold out to the white people, and then she's coming out against a family. It's another possibility. Another possibility, it would be that President Zuma has lost control of his family, and he's got no way of resolving his family issues. His children are taking each other to court. It's another possibility that maybe the elder sister does not have anywhere to go to resolve this issue because President Zuma has lost control of his family, which is a very unlikely possibility. I'm listing all of this so that we can eliminate other possibilities and be left with reasonable things to look at. That's another possibility. Another possibility could be uh, that the sister did not sell out, but when she was approached by those who wanted to pay, um, she reported and they approved the operation. They say, go and get the money. We want to use the money for other things. Go and report your sister. Let's get the money. That case we will see. It's not going to be an issue. We'll see what to do. It could be a possibility that this is a game because the Zuma family is on another level of, let me say, on a different level of existence. The games that they are playing, it's not just little tensions among themselves. President Zuma wants to unite Africa. The strategy that he should implement with his family is a powerful strategy that will enable him to take over power in Africa and unite Africa. Because if you want to unite Africa, you need to take over power, the whole continent of Africa. You need to take over power in order to unite the African continent. So President Zuma is on that level So the games that he's playing with his family might be a little tricky for a lot of people to understand. It may be that President Zuma, which I think it's more, the possibilities are actually unlimited. You can list some of the possibilities. Please comment and list some of the possibilities on the comments. The possibilities are unlimited. I just wanted to talk about one possibility that I think is most probable. The most probably possibility is that President Zuma uh, is in a mission. He's in a mission to unite Africa. He's putting boots on the ground. He's talking to people. He's meeting people across the continent uh, in order to make this issue happen and happen as quick as possible. He does not want attention to himself, because if attention is with him, then they will easily stop him. So when he created a drama with his family, the journalist loves the drama. They will focus on his daughters while he is busy making big moves to unite black people in the continent. The two daughters helping their father to play the game, the power game, whatever it is. I think that is the most probable possibility of what actually happened. But I think it's too early for anybody to can make anything out of the out of the issues. It's too early for anyone to make anything out of the issues. We have to wait and observe of exactly what happens. How are the people acting? At the end of the day, we will be able to observe and we'll be able to make up our minds. Will be able to make the ends meet at the end of the day, so that we can understand what is happening. But the possibilities are a lot. So I was just saying, for those who are panicking that there's chaos in the Zuma family, they should not panic, because the possibilities are huge. There's quite a lot of possibilities, on the same issue. So I wanted to the educated ones are saying there has been success on the G20 has been successful in South Africa. I would urge anybody to stop patronizing South Africans to say G20 has been a success in South Africa, because G20 can never be a success in South Africa if G20 it's about creating debt for South Africans. If G20 it's about creating more debt for ordinary South Africans, and for the so-called government to continue to squeeze South Africans uh, out of their hard work, to squeeze everybody. Uh, Whatever you are working, whatever you are touching, you are being squeezed. The VAT amount, which is the money that we pay for existing, all those amounts, pay as you earn amounts, the company tax that black people are paying, it's not taxes that we're supposed to pay. It's taxes because debt have been created against our name. Today, if a child is born, a South African is born with a debt of about 8,000 rand in his head. Already, per capita. When we say per capita, we mean per head. The amount of money that South Africa owes to the IMF and the European Union per capita is about 7,500, uh, meaning the amount of money that they target to collect from each individual in South Africa is 7,500 per month. And they do that through, many people don't understand how does government uh, collect money, how does the white system collect money from the ordinary people. Every time when you go and buy something, the amount that they call VAT, every time you go and buy fuel, the amount that they call fuel levy, every time you go and buy um, food, or when you work and they tax you, um, what they call pay as you earn, all of those amounts, those are the amounts that are at the end taken to pay the debt that has been created through conferences like the G20. I say already, on average, a South African owes 7,500 before this G20. The G20 commitment, it's over 700 million euros, which the G20, the European Union has committed on solar, on renewables, let me say on renewable energy, which is totally unnecessary. Renewable energy, and also other sectors which are going to benefit Europe. But Europe wants the high grade coal to be exported to their countries so that they can continue to use coal, because the artificial intelligence will want more electricity than maybe twice the amount of electricity that the world is having at the moment is going to be required, or even 10 times. It could go up to 10 times the amount of electricity that is required at the moment uh, to run the artificial intelligence. So Europe is even backtracking on the issue of climate change, because they want to use the coal plants to generate electricity. But they are saying in South Africa we should stop to use coal, because they want to create the debt for us so that we can buy their solar panels. The reason is for us to buy their solar panels and be dependent in energy on them. So if we are not energy independent, then it means the slavery will continue in South Africa, because there's no way an economy can ever work without energy independence. It will never work. If they realize that you are developing, they will just make electricity impossible for you to work. They will make it more expensive for anyone to operate a company, uh, uh, only have their own deals with their own people. So basically, the G20 in South Africa was never a success. Let nobody fools anyone. It was never a success. It was actually a creation of more slaves and more poverty, not even current, future slaves and future um, creation of future poverty. The G20 has been successful in doing that. Uh, Let me play the interview that President Zuma had in Burkina Faso, and let's analyze the interview. I just wanted to comment about those two issues before I actually go to the interview.
Have put across their own feelings, which, in a sense, is us as Africans saying our time has come to be in charge of our own places. I think many of us who went through oppression, they never thought we could.
If you listen to President Zuma is saying it's time that we be in charge of our own places. He's avoiding to use the word countries because these are not actual countries. These are colonial divisions, divisions that have been created by the colonial masters for their own benefit. So he's avoiding to say countries. Basically, is trying to say.
Liberate ourselves fully. It has been how this country has liberated itself in the whole of the continent. And I felt that it was very important that I'm able to be here, to have time to talk with the president here, the leader of this country, because I believe that what we do in the continent, if we do it individually, will take a long, long time before we are free. It is important that we come together and do the same thing and have our Africa, because our Africa is sufficient for us. We don't need anything. So I felt it was absolutely important that I come this time, because I hadn't had an opportunity. I've been wanting to do so, but life is life. So I am very happy that I have been here, and I've spent some days and I've had discussions with the people here as well as the leaders. So I'm happy.
Okay, you have come to Ouagadougou at the moment. Some say don't come to Burkina Faso. Mr. President, do you feel safe in Burkina Faso?
I'm the safest.
Okay.
If I were to do it on my own, I would stay here, not go anywhere. Because here you are dealing with Africans who know exactly what to do. The problem that we have is that oppressors have oppressed us in such a way and for so long that our people began to feel generally that this Africa does not belong to them, belong to people who arrived here. Okay. And it is not true. And it is our duty to clear that and know that we need to be together. Part of the reason we have.
He's saying in Burkina Faso you are dealing with Africans who knows exactly what to do. Yeah, they know that they are confronting an enemy, and they know that they have to fight it and defeat the enemy, or die defending the motherland. They are clear about that. Um, Unlike in South Africa, where people are not clear what is happening, some other people, the youth are still dancing at this moment, where youth are actually required to stand up and fight, just like what is happening in Burkina Faso. The youth in Burkina Faso are more serious and have more clarity about what they need to do or what is happening. That's what President Zuma is talking about here. When you say you are dealing with people who knows.
Have problems in our continent. The people who are more doing that are the oppressors that came to oppress us. They want us not to concentrate in liberating our country fully. They want us to keep on fighting. That's why in this continent, more than any other continent, there are more problems, and they're among ourselves. And if we just sit and look, we will never say we are now free fully. And I think the leadership here has done something very, very important for the continent to show the way. How do we bring liberation to ourselves and be in charge of our own countries? The time has come, and that's the reason why I felt I must meet the president here and have serious discussions, because we do have ideas. How could we quicken Africa, being Africa of our own rather than Africa of other people who live in other places? And therefore, nothing I will fear when I'm here. I feel, in fact, at home. I can walk without any problem, because I know the thinking is together and we know what we are doing. I'm actually very happy that you have young Africans who get into power and show the way. The problem that we have is that people believe that we can't do anything except people who came from afar. But I think this country is demonstrating that this is the route to go. And I'm sure we are going to succeed.
This is the reason why this interview is actually ground moving, and it's actually damaging to the Western countries than anybody can imagine. President Zuma is saying he went to Burkina Faso to meet with President Ibrahim Traore to quicken the process of uniting Africa to become one thing. He's clear about it. He wants Ibrahim Traore to lead the new Africa. People have been talking about unity of Africa, doing away with the borders, rhetorical. Let me say, there has never been anyone who's put boots on the ground. For the first time, President Zuma put boots on the ground to go around countries, African countries, to unite Africa. He's talking to leaders who are thinking alike, to unite Africa, to make it one. This is ground moving, because the three countries which have found liberation in the Sahel states under the French colony, if their liberation is not expanded, then the enemy is going to come and crush it. It has to be expanded for it to survive. If it's not going to be expanded, then white people are going to come one day, crush one leader of the Sahel states, and then the next thing, the second, the third, then it's over about whatever Africans were trying to do in the Sahel and also anywhere else. So President Zuma, with his wisdom, is well aware that this is a possibility, uh, that we may lack vision for expansion. Expansion is a little complicated. It's very complicated to expand in Africa, because Africa has been thoroughly divided. So uniting Africa means going against other leaders, because there will be other leaders who will be defending the interest of the West. So it means you have to go against the other leaders. And sometimes it means you will need to use force uh, in order to eliminate or in order to overcome other people to our side. So President Zuma is well aware of what is required in order for us to unite Africa, and is doing exactly that, is going around Africa to unite Africa. This interview, he is very clear about it in this interview, that his purpose is to unite Africa, and it's a job that he takes as very urgent, and he's taking the job very serious. President Zuma is not a small fish. He's a man who has led the African National Congress intelligence. He's led the ANC as president. He's led South Africa as president. He's got the advantage of being traditional and also being modernized, because he knows English. He learned some tricks from white people. He knows how white people operate. The apartheid government could not deal with President Zuma. They wanted to eliminate him a long time ago, but they have failed decimally. The current government as well, which wanted to eliminate, to bury him alive, they failed decimally, and is now coming out clearly. The first leader in Africa who is an ancestor to come out and support and be clear about the struggle of black people in Africa, and be clear, give a clear vision of what is required to happen, what the African children are required to do in this kind of state. Let's go on.
So you said it yesterday, you met with the president. He committed himself to fighting against the oppression of imperialism. So what do you think of his vision, his Pan-Africanist vision?
I think he has a vision that we need as Africans.
Okay.
It's very clear. Part of the reason I was keen to come was to meet him and have a discussion, and also add to what he's doing, and also exchange the views about how do we quicken the final independence of our continent. And I had with the president yesterday a wonderful discussion. I could see that this is the man who is ready to help liberate Africa.
Okay.
But of course, you know, the colonized people at times get misled by people who came to this conference, to this place of ours. For an example, some people believe that for their lives in Africa, they must depend on the colonizers. And colonizers at times use our people here to make it difficult for us. And that's why, for an example, you'd see, and I made this point, yesterday to my friend. I also made it to our people who were here that there is a big problem wherein we demonstrate that we are in fact not realizing what is happening in this province, in this continent. If you take the situation where this country says we want that belongs to us to come to us and let us run our own affairs, and you have leaders saying this is a coup d'etat, why are you doing this? And therefore we are going to isolate you. That tells you the problems we still have here. Because we as Africans were in our own. And some people came, started wars, taking our country, doing everything. It has been centuries. I don't think as Africans we have to sit and say we don't know one day either the angel or God or Jesus himself will come and help us. They will never. It is us who must say enough is enough. We want to run our affairs in every.
This is quite important. This is quite important what President Zuma is mentioning here. A lot of people agree that black people, actually, all black people in South Africa agree that black people are oppressed. Uh, but the only thing that black people do not agree in South Africa about is how to liberate the black man who is oppressed. The division is so huge among black people, and what causes the division is the white people. A long time ago, they used to send a brother to go and fetch his brother to sell to the white men so that they can take them to Europe and America for slavery. It is still the same thing happening even today through political parties, politics. A black brother goes to accumulate a certain number of black people whom referred to as slaves in all times, exercise control over the people, determine who they should be angry against, when to be angry, and how to get angry. And then white people pay him for that. The slave traders. He's talking about slave traders like President Ramaphosa, slave traders like Julius Malema. He's talking about those slave traders.
Direction. That which has been done here
Okay.
should have been a light that says this is the way to go. But what did you find? You find not just ordinary people, leaders who are running their countries, saying this is a coup d'etat. Please let us isolate this young man. That tells you the problem we still have. And I am very keen to say, what can we do, all of us, who think alike, to change the minds of our people? It is absolutely crucial. One of the things that made me happy here is to find Africans from all over being here. Well, that gives the support to what the leadership here is doing. And I think we need to increase that. We need to help our brothers who say, no, you can't touch the white people, to say it's not more that kind of time. It is us who must take over our countries and live in peace so that we can remove problems in our continent where we fight among ourselves when there is no need, fighting for places or where people are saying, this is my place, this is my country, it can help us. I do feel that we still have to work very hard to change the minds of those who were influenced by the colonizers and those who think they can only have something to eat if the colonizers bring something here. It is the colonizers who don't have everything we have in our continent. I think we should be left alone to live in our continent, in our what you call, in the manner in which we want to. This is what we need to do. Discussing with the president yesterday, I realized that Africa is now changing. We've got people who stand for the truth, who are not taken away by people who think differently. I was very happy. We had a very good discussion. And I'm sure this link of us coming together is going to make us perhaps few to influence others and change the African continent, because it is us. The colonizers have taken many things that they found here. They're still taking for themselves, not for us. So my discussion with the president was absolutely important.
Okay.
And I believe we are on the same pace, and I believe we are going to influence Africa. We are going to change Africa.
How? How?
No, we are going to deal with the comrades that are here. Tell them that it is wrong what they are doing. For an example, in Africa, it is easy to kill people. And it's just the end of the story. Because they are looking down upon us. We need to influence country by country, leaders by leaders, ordinary African people, that this is the way to go. And we should not shy away from it.
This is the dangerous plan that President Zuma has about Africa. I call it dangerous plan because this is the kind of plan that makes Europeans and white people take their bombs on you. This is the type of plan which cause them to bring their intelligence, the whole of their resources on you. Because if this is successful, if President Zuma is not just talking and he actually make it successful, it means trillions of dollars they are going to lose in the African continent if Ibrahim Traore's strategies is implemented throughout the continent. President Zuma has been talking to Africans. He went to Morocco. He spoke to the kingdom of Morocco. He spoke to the kingdom of Lesotho. He spoke to the kingdom of Eswatini. President Zuma went to Namibia. He went to Ghana. Different places President has been visiting. Politicians and the traditional about uniting Africa over power in Africa to isolate project or the BRICS project to de-dollarize was started by President Zuma. Was the formation of BRICS of the economic countries developed president, because he did not like the strength of the dollar. He did not like the power at which the dollar was operating. And then he decided to propose politics is about voting every 5 years. The team is going to be, because the older people are going to advise the younger people to avoid destroying themselves in the process of freedom, of fighting for freedom, in a way that you may end up destroying yourself and never get to even see that freedom, or even your people get to see that freedom, like what happened here in South Africa. Many freedom fighters have died, but nothing has been realized so far. We're still under the British colony, we're still controlled by the British Queen. So this interview is actually mass moving in a way that will make President Zuma the target of the world markets.
My feeling is that there are a few decades that are still going to give us problems. Because if we are able to discuss with our colleagues, to tell the truth as it is, to show the way, which way to go, is what will help us.
Okay.
And I'm sure they will turn around. If you take the problems that face Africa, anyone who is an African in the true sense of the word must participate in helping this continent.
Okay.
This continent is one of the richest continents in big numbers, whilst our things are being taken away to help the people out there so that they are in charge. They've got even a problem of buying people, other Africans, to kill other Africans. So we are still left with a big problem to deal with ourselves as Africans.
Okay.
And I believe if you have got president like the leader here, who are not afraid, we are going to tell African leaders
Okay.
openly that you are wrong.
Okay.
Not to start any war, to say you are wrong, let the Africans come together. And I'm sure we are going to change this continent very quick.
Okay.
Because it is not just two of us who are thinking, there are a number of them. I think we've just reached the point where we must say to the leaders and everybody else, this is the way to go, not the way we have chosen over the years. So I was very happy.
Okay.
He was very happy too. And we have agreed we are going to be seeing one another continuously because we think alike. And I think there are quite a lot who also think alike. It's absolutely wonderful.
Okay. Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger created the AES Confederation to better fight against terrorism and develop their countries. So what do you think of this choice? Is it the best?
Absolutely. That is the thing I'm talking about, that we are going to be influencing people all the time.
Okay.
That is the way to go. If, as he does, do everything with the truth and also ready to do anything in order to succeed, we are going to have, we now have 3 countries here that are saying enough is enough with our colonizers. That is the beginning of a process where many other countries are going to do it. Because I think we all realize we are in trouble. And therefore, we need to change things. So I am very happy with that unity of the 3 countries. In fact, I'll tell you, if we win elections as we go, there are going to be the 4 countries that change Africa.
Okay.
That's how it's going to be.
This is the big declaration that President Zuma has made in this interview, that if the MK party wins the election, the South Africa is going to be the 4th member of the Sahel states, which is going to change the Africa continent as which is going to turn it on its head. Africa as we've never known it. President Zuma is envisioning another Africa where black children are free, where the black culture is allowed to thrive, where the black traditions are allowed, black art is allowed to thrive. President Zuma is envisioning that Africa, and is declaring that should the MK party win the elections in South Africa, which is going to happen, highly going to happen, is saying South Africa is going to be the fourth country to join the Sahel state to fight, to expand. Mr. Victor Shoma says, belated greetings, royalty. Thank you very much. You are very much late in the class, but you will need to catch up on what we're talking about. We're talking about the interview which President Zuma had, because while people are entertaining us with the Nyandlala Commission or Madlala Commission, while people are entertaining us with that, President Zuma is not in the entertainment industry. President Zuma is waking the ground, is uniting Africa. Uniting Africa means hunger to Europe. Uniting Africa means uh, businesses going bankrupt in Europe. And uniting Africa means taking over the land and taking over the resources. When the white people came, they take over the ocean resources. They took over all the river resources. They took over all the land resources. They took over all the air resources, space resources. So we have to conquer all of this. We need to conquer it back. And this is the proposal that President Zuma is putting on the table, which is a very dangerous proposal for him to make, because these people are not playing. They don't play games. I say this proposal is going to get him arrested. And I say, because Duduzile is one of his daughters who are supporting his mission. She's one of the people who is now being harassed because of her support to her father, who wants to liberate the African continent. An old man who is still struggling to liberate the African continent. Young people being involved in drugs and criminality instead of fighting for liberation. Very sad what is happening in South Africa.
So for you, various confederations can inspire the other African countries and contribute to reaching African unity.
This is the beginning of that process.
Okay.
That's the beginning of the African countries having to come together. Those who can't see, they are going to see what is happening here, what is happening in South Africa when we take over. So whether they like it or not, we are going to change them. And there are countries that agree with what they've done here, some of them big countries. So all we need to do now is to add the numbers of the African leaders to think in a particular way, which is the way to make us free.
During a conference hosted by the African diaspora, strong recommendations were made. And one of these recommendations is that African countries who use the CFA franc should break free from it. What's your viewpoint about it?
No, firstly, I'm very happy that our brothers and sisters coming from outside have also taken a step to participate in helping this continent. I'm very happy. I was very happy to see our brothers and sisters here who are very serious about how do we need to change the world. Because if we don't do so, we will remain almost like I'm not. I don't want to say only like. Okay, let me not say it.
Okay.
What is important is that we as Africans, we must stand for ourselves, not remain to other people. The colonizers came here and left few of their people, but it took everything. They are still taking it away up to today, whatever we have. And we cannot allow that. And therefore, the issue of how the monies are used, because wherever you are, what you come across is that we don't have the money. The money is owned by those people, always. And others are big, like the United States of America, for an example. The dollar is what dominates the world.
Okay.
We can have our own. We don't need the dollar. When I joined a group of 5, in fact, precisely because I don't like this business, that we are ruled from somewhere. We are just useless. We can't even exchange our money. At times, if we've got our own money, it's just a
Very huge and very dangerous statement for him, President Zuma at his old age, uh, fearless and aggressive against the white system, against colonialism, saying we don't need a dollar, we can have our own, which this is a very strong statement which has made many people, got a lot of people killed in the past, which is still getting a lot of people eliminated even in the present time. But President Zuma, without caring for his life or his old age, says, let's de-dollarize. This is massive. Europe knows this is massive. Europe wants Africa to unite under their supervision. They don't want Africa to unite under the supervision of President Zuma. That's why they've already moved to start uniting the Eastern African countries, Kenya and Uganda. Those are the first countries that are going to unite first, because of what President Zuma is doing with the Sahel states. So the Europeans want Africa united under their control. They don't want Africa united under the control of Africans, because this will put Africa beyond their reach. Their resources that they're taking for free here. As we are speaking, me and you at the moment, they are digging our land, taking the gold and taking the minerals and other essential minerals to Europe. Huge trucks, huge abnormal trucks are moving minerals to the shore, to Devon and to Maputo, to be shipped to European countries. Those are massive amounts of money that they are making per annum. Massive amounts of minerals, all sorts of minerals in the planet are found in Africa. So once we take over control of Africa, it's a big deal, it's not a small thing. Give us your opinion. What do you think? What do you think about? Do you also have the say? Do you share the opinion that this is a big move by President Zuma, or do you think this is just a game? It's not gonna go anywhere. Please share your opinion. Comment about any other geopolitics that you would like us to discuss, or any matter that you would like us to discuss, or any kind of improvement that you would like us to do. Please click the like button and subscribe. It's actually for free. Thank you very much.